Imagination is reality. This is not just a poetic phrase, it is the absolute foundation of your entire life experience. Everything you see around you, everything you touch, taste, feel, or fear, it all begins in your imagination. Most people think reality is hard and fixed, something outside of them. They believe circumstances come first, and only then can they respond. But this is the great illusion. The truth is far more powerful and far more personal. The world you walk through is a mirror, faithfully reflecting your inner world, your dominant assumptions, and your persistent thoughts. If you want to change your life, if you want to silence the critics, if you want to rise above the noise, stop trying to fight the outer world. Go within. Go to that secret, sacred space where only you exist, and imagine yourself already being the person you want to be. The person who is respected. The person who is successful. The person who knows their worth without needing to shout it. Because once you assume it within, the world has no choice but to conform. When they doubt you, when they mock you, when they say, "You'll never do it," you don't fight back. You don't waste your breath defending yourself. Instead, you go deeper into the silence and you see yourself as already victorious. You rehearse success in your mind like a ritual. Not begging for it, not hoping for it, but knowing, this is who I am. You walk through the day with the quiet, knowing that what you see with your physical eyes is old news. It's a printout of past beliefs. But your imagination, that's the blueprint of what's next. That's where you build. People confuse imagination with fantasy, but they are not the same. Fantasy is wishing with no conviction. Imagination is creation. It is the divine power within you to select any state and live from it. And when you persist in that chosen state, when you feel its truth even when the facts scream the opposite, the facts will eventually kneel. The world has no power except the power you've assigned to it. Take it back. Take your gaze off their opinions and plant it firmly in your inner vision. Because the real battlefield is not out there, it's in your mind. When someone criticizes you, your mind races to defend. When someone hates you, your instinct is to prove them wrong. But there's a deeper response, a more powerful one: silence, inner authority. You don't need to react to their disbelief when you already believe. You are the dreamer, and the dream is yours to shape. They are just characters. Some supportive, some antagonistic, but none more powerful than your own assumption. So what happens when you imagine boldly, consistently, and with feeling? What happens when you say, "I am," to a new reality and refuse to look back? The old version of you begins to dissolve. The people who knew that version will resist, they will hate, criticize, mock. But this is the sign you've stepped into the new. Don't panic. Rejoice. Their hate is a symptom of your growth. It means the world is reacting to your shift. And once you hold firm, it must shift too. You don't need anyone's permission to succeed. You don't need their praise to believe you're enough. You just need to imagine, and not just casually. Imagine with feeling. Imagine with trust. Imagine so clearly that your heart starts beating as if it were already done. Because to the imagination, it is done. The moment you fully feel yourself as the version of you who has already succeeded, life begins bending around that image. This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual law. Inner reality always precedes outer manifestation. So let them hate you. Let them call you delusional. Let them talk. And while they speak, you imagine, you create, you become. And one day they'll look around and wonder how you did it. And you'll smile, knowing that you didn't wait for them to believe. You believe for yourself. Reactions are creation. That simple truth carries more power than most people realize. Every time you react to something in your world, whether it's criticism, hate, praise, fear, or doubt, you are not just observing reality, you are shaping it. Most people move through life as reactors, not creators. They let their emotions be hijacked by what others say or do. They think they're simply responding to the world, but in truth, they are feeding and multiplying what they react to. This is why hate, opposition, and negativity often seem to grow when we focus on them. Not because they have power, but because our reaction gives them life. When someone insults you and you feel the sting and obsess over it, what you're really doing is anchoring that experience deeper into your own consciousness. You're saying, "This matters. I accept it." And your subconscious, which accepts whatever is impressed upon it, says, Okay, more of that. Your reaction becomes the instruction manual for your future. But here's the gift. You can choose differently. You can rewrite the script in real time. You are not obligated to react from the past. You can respond from your vision, from your end state, from the powerful awareness of who you really are. Let's say someone mocks your dream. They say you're not smart enough, not qualified, not ready. Your old self may have argued, gotten emotional, or pulled back in self-doubt. But now, knowing that your reactions create, you do something radical. You don't react at all. Or better yet, you smile quietly, because you know this is a test of your inner dominion. You recognize that this moment isn't about proving yourself to them. It's about proving to yourself that you're no longer a puppet to their opinions. And this shift changes everything. When you choose your reaction deliberately, you take the pen back. You become the author again. You decide what meaning this moment holds. You say, this is not rejection, this is redirection. This is not hate, this is a sign that I am moving beyond their understanding. And in doing so, you create a new future. You've altered the pattern. You've interrupted the loop. People think creation is just visualizing something nice in meditation or writing goals on paper. That's only a piece of it. True creation happens in the furnace of the moment, when life presses you, when others test you, when the world pokes your insecurities. That's when your reactions have the most power, and that's where mastery lies. When you understand this, even hate becomes useful. You stop fearing opposition. In fact, you start using it. The next time someone tries to trigger you, you smile inwardly and say, thank you. Because now you see clearly, they're not shaping your destiny, you are. Their words are just empty echoes, unless you give them meaning. This is not about repression or pretending you don't feel things. It's about sovereignty. You acknowledge the feeling, and then you decide what it means. You feel the sting, and then you breathe and choose power. You don't deny the emotion, you elevate it. In doing so, you free yourself. You no longer live at the mercy of outer events. You live from within. You create not just your goals, but your state. And from that elevated state, your world must obey. That's the law. What you are conscious of being, you become. What you emotionally accept, you experience. So, when the world throws shade, disappointment, criticism, or disbelief at you, don't react in fear. Respond in faith. Respond in knowing. Let your reaction be silence, or even better, vision. Respond by closing your eyes and feeling the end. Respond by imagining the opposite. Respond by knowing who you are so deeply that the noise fades into irrelevance. This is the art of spiritual power. This is the practice of creation. And the more you master your reactions, the more unstoppable you become. Because no matter what they say, no matter what happens, you've trained yourself to respond from your future, not your past. From your desire, not your fear. Inner conversations shape the outer world. This is one of the most misunderstood, yet most transformative truths you will ever encounter. Most people think creation is about action. Working harder, networking more, chasing opportunities. But all those actions are just the tip of the iceberg. The real creation, the cause of everything you experience, happens silently, within the dialogue you hold with yourself when no one is watching. What are you saying to yourself when you're alone? When things don't go your way? When you look in the mirror or think about your future? Those thoughts are not harmless. They are not just thoughts. They are instructions. They are scripts you hand to life, saying, here, this is what I expect. Make it so. Your inner dialogue is your blueprint, and your outer world is the construction crew. Life doesn't respond to your wishes. It responds to your self-talk. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm not ready, I always mess things up, no one sees my value, or this will never happen for me, you are not just venting, you are weaving your own prison. And because life must be loyal to your inner reality, it confirms every word. But here's the beauty of this law, you can change it at any moment. The second you begin to revise your self-talk, the world begins to bend. Try it. Try talking to yourself like someone you admire deeply. Try saying, I always land on my feet. Everything is unfolding in my favor. They may not see it yet, but I am undeniable. At first, it might feel like a lie, but that's only because your old inner conversation has been rehearsed for years. It's like a worn-out script, and the more you recite it, the more convincing it becomes. But that doesn't make it true. It just makes it familiar. So what happens when you dare to change the script? When you start feeding your mind new assumptions, new beliefs, new phrases, slowly, your identity shifts. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, expect differently. And the world, your job, your relationships, your finances, starts to reflect that new state, because the world is not separate from you. It is responding to you in real time. If you feel overlooked and speak to yourself like a victim, the world confirms that by keeping you invisible. But if you choose to speak to yourself like a person of worth, a person of power, even when the world hasn't caught on yet, something profound happens. The world begins to mirror that inner truth. And this isn't about delusion, it's about authority. You are the author of your inner speech. You can rewrite any narrative. It doesn't matter what happened yesterday, or who doubted you, or even what mistakes you've made. The question is, what are you telling yourself now? Because now is the point of power. Most people give their inner world no attention. They let it run wild. They speak to themselves like an enemy, not realizing that this silent enemy becomes an outer one. But the moment you wake up to this, the moment you take back control of your inner dialogue, you've already begun to change your life. So speak with love, speak with strength, speak to yourself like someone who is already living the life you want. Let your inner conversations be filled with confidence, certainty, vision. When doubt shows up, acknowledge it. But don't argue with it. Replace it. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I don't need their validation. I already have my own. These aren't just affirmations. They are the seeds of your future. Water them daily. Be mindful of every thought you repeat, because your life is the harvest of your internal dialogue. If you want to change the outer world, you must first win the war within. And the way you win is not through force, but through conscious repetition, through love, through clarity. So begin today, right now. Catch yourself mid-thought and ask, would I say this to someone I love? If not, change it. Speak better. Dream louder. And watch, over time, how your entire world transforms to match the power of your new inner conversation. Use opposition as fuel. Most people see resistance as a sign to stop, to retreat, to question their worth. But what if the resistance you're facing isn't meant to stop you? What if it's a clear signal you're moving in the right direction? What if the opposition you feel is not a wall, but a mirror reflecting your rising power? When you set out to become more, when you commit to thinking bigger, speaking your truth, chasing what others say is impossible, you stir the waters. You disturb the comfortable, predictable rhythm of your old life. And resistance shows up, not as a punishment, but as evidence that the old reality is reacting to your new intention. You're shaking the foundation of limitation, and it pushes back. That's not a sign to give up. It's confirmation that you've touched something real. You see, most people expect their transformation to feel smooth. They imagine that becoming their best self will be celebrated, easy, even graceful. But transformation isn't tidy. It's uncomfortable, raw, and often misunderstood. You will be doubted. You will be ignored. You will be laughed at. That's the cost of evolution. The friction you feel is not failure, it's fuel. The pressure of opposition builds your character. The resistance reveals what still needs to be faced within you. Are you still people-pleasing? Then rejection will trigger you until you learn to stand in your truth. Are you still afraid to be seen? Then you'll attract criticism until you learn that your visibility does not depend on their approval. Every challenge is a teacher, every hater a helper in disguise. They are unknowingly preparing you for the life you say you want. Opposition calls your bluff. You said you want success. Are you willing to walk through judgment to get it? You said you want freedom. Can you handle misunderstanding along the way? You said you want to live fully. Are you prepared to be uncomfortable in the process? The universe listens not to your words, but to your frequency. And when you respond to resistance not with fear, but with resolve, the world takes notice. There is a strange and beautiful shift that happens when you stop resisting resistance. You begin to use it. You feel the tension and you smile, not because you enjoy pain, but because you recognize it as part of the breakthrough. You don't beg for an easier path. you become a stronger traveler. And in that shift, you transcend the opinions, the noise, the fear. You begin to source your power from within. Greatness never comes from comfort. The diamond is not born in a gentle place. It's made through pressure, through time, through intensity. The same is true of you. Every moment someone underestimates you, every time you are told no, every doubt cast your way is another log on the fire that fuels your emergence. This is not about revenge. This is not about proving them wrong. It's about proving to yourself that nothing outside you holds your destiny. It's about showing up again and again until you don't flinch at rejection. You don't shrink from critique. You don't need applause to continue. You burn with inner vision, and that fire can't be put out by someone else's disbelief. So don't resent the resistance. Don't wish it away. Use it. Let it sharpen your clarity. Let it deepen your focus. Let it remind you that if you were still hiding, still small, still living by old limits, no one would resist you. But because you're rising, because you're becoming, they can feel it, and they react. Good. That means you're doing something right. Detachment from opinions is freedom. It's one of the hardest yet most liberating lessons you will ever learn. As long as you are emotionally tied to what others think of you, you remain a prisoner to their perception. You become reactive, unstable, and easily swayed. One compliment can make your day, and one criticism can destroy your week. But when you learn to detach, truly detach, you become unshakable. Not cold, not arrogant, but deeply rooted in your own knowing. People will always have opinions. Some will love you. Some will hate you. Some will misunderstand you entirely. That's not personal. That's projection. Every person who sees you is looking through the lens of their own story, their own fear, their own limitations. If someone tells you you're too much, it's because they've been told to stay small. If someone mocks your ambition, it's because they gave up on their own. Their reaction isn't truth. It's reflection. Once you understand this, you stop chasing approval. You stop explaining yourself. You stop editing your essence to make others comfortable. You realize that their opinion only has power if you agree with it. The moment you say, "That's not mine," you take your energy back. You stop arguing with people who aren't even capable of seeing your vision. You stop shrinking to fit spaces you've outgrown. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care about people. It means you no longer need their validation to feel whole. You operate from a deeper truth, a place inside that says, "I know who I am. I know where I'm going. And I don't need your permission to be great." That's a quiet kind of power. It doesn't scream. It doesn't compete. It just is. The need to be liked is one of the most subtle forms of bondage. It keeps you walking in circles, constantly adjusting your personality, your dreams, your appearance, just to please others who don't even know who they are. And the irony, even when you do please them, it's never enough, because people's opinions change like the wind. One day they cheer you. The next they doubt you. If your peace is tied to that, you'll never feel safe. But when you detach truly and fully, you unlock a new level of clarity. You begin to live for something greater than applause. You live in alignment with your purpose, your truth, your inner guidance. And in that space, you attract exactly who and what is meant for you. Not because you performed for it, but because you became it. Every time someone doubts you and you don't flinch, you're growing stronger. Every time someone mocks you and you keep walking, you're rising. Detachment isn't passive. It's powerful. It's choosing to remain steady while the world spins. It's realizing you don't need to be understood to be effective. Your purpose doesn't require consensus. It only requires consistency. So let them misunderstand you. Let them talk. Let them write you off. None of that has anything to do with your truth. Your job is not to convince them. It's to become. Your only responsibility is to remain loyal to your vision, even when no one else sees it yet. Eventually, the same people who dismissed you will be forced to witness what happens when someone chooses self-trust over external approval. But by then, you won't even care. Not out of bitterness, but because you'll have outgrown the need for their recognition. The power of persistence is not in what you do once, but in what you continue to do regardless of what happens around you. Most people start strong. They begin with excitement, with fire, with energy. But when they don't see immediate results, when the applause doesn't come, when progress seems invisible, when life throws a curveball, they fall back. They lose momentum. They interpret the delay as denial. But those who persist know something deeper. The outer world always catches up to the inner conviction. It's never a question of if, only of when. Persistence is a spiritual discipline. It's not about stubbornness. It's about alignment. It's the quiet refusal to give up on a vision that's already yours in the unseen. It's not about grinding mindlessly. It's about moving consistently in the direction of what you know is real, before it's visible to others. You don't persist because it's easy. You persist because you've already seen the end in your imagination. You've already felt it. And that feeling becomes the compass. When no one claps, you persist. When they laugh, you persist. When the results delay, you persist. Because true creation happens long before it becomes physical. It begins in consciousness, in feeling, in assumption. And the bridge between assumption and manifestation is paved with persistence. The people who achieve the impossible are not the luckiest, or even the most talented. They're the ones who refuse to quit, who refuse to bow to appearances, who chose to believe when believing felt foolish. The outer world will test you. It will offer distractions, detours, and doubt. It will mirror your old fears, echo your inner hesitations, and sometimes make you question everything. But those tests are not obstacles. They're invitations. Invitations to step deeper into your faith, your certainty, your decision. Every delay is asking, do you still believe even now? And when you say yes, not with words, but with your energy, your repetition, your commitment, you advance. The bridge forms beneath your feet as you walk. This is why people who master the art of persistence are often misunderstood. They seem delusional. They invest in dreams no one else can see. They keep showing up when logic says to walk away. But they're not being irrational. They're being devoted. Devoted to a vision that's already alive within them. And they understand something simple but profound. Reality always bends to sustained belief. The world honors those who endure. The dream responds to the one who refuses to stop dreaming. The life you desire is not built in grand gestures. It's built in the decision to keep showing up, even when it's inconvenient, even when you're tired, even when no one's watching, especially then. Because those quiet, consistent acts of faith are the foundation of miracles. So be relentless in your belief, not aggressive, anchored. Be so rooted in your vision that time doesn't discourage you. Be so grounded in your self-concept that the world's silence doesn't shake you. Keep moving. Keep showing up. Keep affirming, imagining, living in the end. That's not blind faith. It's conscious creation. You don't have to force the how. You don't have to beg or chase. Your job is to persist in the state of the wish fulfilled, to occupy the feeling of already having it, and to return to it again and again. When doubt creeps in, and it will acknowledge it, then return. When things don't unfold the way you expected, don't panic. Reassume the end. Persistence is not about avoiding challenges. It's about knowing those challenges cannot stop you unless you let them. In the end, persistence is proof. It proves to your subconscious that you're serious. It proves to life that you're ready. It proves to yourself that you trust what's unfolding, even when you can't see it yet. And when you live like that, anchored in vision, unwavering in spirit, everything begins to shift. The world, once resistant, starts to cooperate. The unseen becomes seen, the doors open. Not because you chase them down, but because you never stopped walking toward them. Persist, and watch what happens next.